Welcome to another In Wheel Time podcast, a 30-minute mini version of the In Wheel Time car show that airs live every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central.
Well, it's been a fun 30 minutes, and let's go into the next 30 minutes. From the Sugar Shack Studios in Houston, Texas, USA, it's the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Just ahead, do you know how much your commute costs you each year?
We're going to find out.
You may be surprised. Jeff has the cruise-in calendar and the events calendars, and I'll bring you stories making automotive news this week. Howdy, along with Mike Out of This World Mars. We always need more Jeff Zekin, Chief Engineer David Ainsley. I'm Don Armstrong. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm going to try to do a better job in keeping us on time today, but I didn't do such a good job the last time.
Or last week.
I'm time challenged these days. I think it's the tight underwear I'm wearing now.
That in the cold weather.
There's that. Yeah, absolutely. All right, Chip Lupo is an analyst with WalletHub. Chip, good morning to you.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate you. Where are you calling us from?
I am here in Columbia, South Carolina.
How's the weather up there in the Carolinas today?
Well, we just, earlier this week, we had our first snowfall and ice. About barely an inch on the ground here in Columbia, but enough to shut the schools down.
I guess the coinky-dink.
Yeah, that is quite a coinky-dink because we actually experienced the exact same thing here. We don't have snow plows here. I don't know about you up there, but no snow plows, and it was difficult, and the city pretty much shut down for at least 24 to 36 hours, depending on what it was that was open. So
yeah, we had our first official blizzard.
You did?
We never had a blizzard in Southeast Texas before, but it was here.
And you can hear that accent there, Chippy. We never had a winter blast here.
Blizzard.
We had a blizzard. We had to shut stuff down here, Chip.
You put the topping on it with the nuts. Those are good
you
blizzards.
The state here is divided pretty much in two regions, a low country and an upstate. The upstate, where the Greenville, Spartanburg area going towards Clemson near the Blue Ridge Mountains, they get a pretty good amount of snow. So the running joke around here is that there's one snow plow in all of South Carolina, and they keep it up there in Greenville.
Yeah, kind of like it is here. Well, at any rate, we wanted to talk to you today about how much your commute costs, and we briefly kind of teased it earlier on before we went on the air, in the fact that, you look at gasoline, that's the obviously one, either that or electricity, depending on whether you're driving an internal combustion engine or you're driving one with an electric motor. At any rate, you got to put energy in the car, and that's going to cost you money. But so many times people forget about the fact that we got insurance, we got upkeep, maintenance. Have you had a wreck? Did you bump the fender? You got to get that fixed. So there's all of these factors that go into it on a commuter car, and that's what we're talking about here is commuting price. And I'm thinking, if people only knew how much that car actually costs to get you from point A to point B and back every day, I think they'd be amazed.
Well, you're right, and you hit on some of the key points. You mentioned upkeep, you mentioned insurance. And just a routine wear and tear, the quality of your roads would have a lot to do with that. If you're driving on a roads covered with potholes, you're going to be in the shop a lot more than you anticipated. But keep also in mind, too, is that what you pay for your car, the actual, I'm quite sure you gentlemen are not one of those who are foolish enough to pay sticker price for a brand new car. But the price that you pay is going to determine how much your insurance is going to be. And what people forget, too, also are if you're in a state where you're paying property taxes. In South Carolina, you pay a county tax on your vehicle based on whatever numbers that the assessor put on it. But the more expensive your car, the higher your property taxes are going to be.
That's interesting because here in the state of Texas, it's not based on property taxes per se. We have a set rate for your car, and that goes all through the state. I think that mine this year was $77 to get a license plate for the next year. How much was yours? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I got a new one, so it all kind of came together.
I truck was $74.
Yeah, something like that, about $75 a year. But I know that a lot of them are based on, there is a fee, I believe, that the county that we live in takes out of that $75. It's complicated. It's not just one fee that goes to one place.
Yeah.
It's multiple things. And let's not forget, if you buy a gallon of gas, there's a lot of money that goes to the state that's taxed onto that gallon of gas.
Yeah,
so
the proprietor doesn't get very much.
Yeah.
Well, right, the gas taxes. There's a reason that gas is upward about $6-7 in California, and in a state like Texas, where it ranks pretty low on average gas, probably $2.78 a gallon.
Yep.
But even then, how much of that is going into taxes that's going straight to Austin?
Well, that's right. And we're fortunate in the fact that we are an oil-producing state, and the state of Texas has always kind of really given us, so to speak, a discount.
They're very aware of where their money comes from.
Yeah, very much so. So, we don't have property taxes because it's an oil-producing state, and we get our revenue in different places, yes.
Oh, did he freeze up?
He's frozen.
He's frozen.
Frozen.
Oh, am I? No, I'm still here, guys.
Okay, good. All right. You were just listening. Yeah. So what is it that we can do besides the obvious to reduce the amount of money that we pay commuting? You still got to have insurance. You still got to have fuel money. However, the only thing that I can think of is if you're driving, let's just take, for instance, a pickup truck, because here in Texas, pickup trucks are all the rage. Mm-hmm. All right?
It's the official state vehicle.
Yeah, pretty much. And the fact that, generally speaking, pickup trucks, even though they've got a V6, most of them still today have V8s that didn't really go out of style or fashion here in the last couple of years. And that thing's going to get, 13, 14 miles to the gallon. Well, what do you do then? I like my pickup truck. Well, what can you do to cut back on the cost of the pickup truck? You're not going to sell it. You're going to keep it. You follow my thinking?
Oh, absolutely. But a couple of they're drastic at best, but consider commuting to a job closer to your home or moving closer to where you work. That's one thing.
Sure.
Carpooling, it's not in fashion like it was a few years ago, but that's an option. Carpooling, maybe a combination hybrid working home and in the office. And GPS is a wonderful thing. You can maybe plot some shorter routes. Maybe there's some routes that maybe might add a mile or two onto your trip, but would save you time, therefore save you gas money.
Yeah. Well, I think that if you really put your mind to it, you could really save some significant amount of money over a year period of time. If your car is more than 3 years old and you use it mainly for commuting, perhaps taking that pickup truck and trading it in, get top dollar for it, step down and get yourself a hybrid. I had a hybrid the other day, 40 miles to the gallon. I didn't have to worry. It was not a plug-in hybrid. It was just a hybrid. I didn't have to worry about trying to find a charging station. It did it all on its own and got 40 miles to the gallon. Was it a race car? Absolutely not. But it wasn't. Who drives the race car to work? So, you follow my thinking there? Maybe perhaps over a year or two period of time, you could save some significant money if you would maybe use an alternate method of commuting.
Oh, hybrids are a perfect idea for general commuting if you live in an area where work and shopping are fairly close. But the flip side, if you're commuting long trips, or if you're in a job where you're traveling constantly, a hybrid may not be as good an idea, other than for the gas cost of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I need my truck. I got to keep my truck. But to your point, over the course of a year, most people don't think about saving $1 or $2 here over the course of a year. It's, I can go down here and save a couple of dollars. That's not too big a deal. It's not worth my time and effort. But if you do that 100 times a year,
guys, one thing I noticed a couple of weeks ago, one of my best friends got a brand new Toyota Tundra pickup with a turbo V6. And he's still figuring out the bells and whistles on it, but he found out the hard way is that if you're sitting at a light or in traffic, it automatically shuts off. There's some kind of a kill switch or something in it that'll
Yes, the auto start stop feature. Yeah, absolutely. And you know, when I started getting demo cars to drive and review, I hated it. And today, and I used to turn it off. Today, I don't do that as much because I want to get the full experience of it. And most of them, you have to actually hit the button to turn it off. Mm-hmm. Now I get the full experience of it, and some of those cars, when the engine comes to life, it'll shake the entire car. Other ones, you don't even recognize it, don't even mess with it, and they don't cost any more than the other one.
I turn mine off every time I start. I put the seatbelt on first, start the car, and then I turn it off. I get 28 to 28 and a half miles to the gallon in the city. I've gone as high as almost 33 on the highway.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Have you tried a tank by not turning it off?
No, I just don't like that feature. I just don't like that.
I went to a demo one time, and I believe it was Chrysler, when they first started really doing that, and they showed how much, like over the course of a tank of gas, the amount of gas that you're actually saving is pretty minimal. But they look at it over the course of 100,000 vehicles that they're going to build that year is how much fuel and all gets saved. And that was several years ago when they first started that feature. So it may be even more now with all the hybrids and the electric help processes they have to get the cars going.
Yeah, yeah. So
the other thing, gentlemen, about technology, though, is that the more technology, as my father was a mechanic for 35 years, and he cringed at the idea of power windows back in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Would say basically so that's just more things to go wrong with it. And the more technology, those are going to increase your maintenance costs because these things are not cheap, even if you happen to be driving a Ford F-150 as opposed to a Toyota Tundra.
Chip, I challenge you to find a car that has crank windows today. I think that there may be 2 or 3 manufacturers that still make crank windows for their bottom-of-the-line car that they've been building for 50 years.
But they're not built here in America.
Well, it doesn't make any difference. Yeah. They still build it. And I will tell you that I have gotten used to power windows, and my daughter's 2007 Ford Focus, I bought it because it had crank windows because it was cheap.
You can get the modern new old stock, whatever you want to call it, where you have an actual handle on the door, like a crank handle, but it's actually your window. You push it down, the window goes down, you pull it up. But it's an actual handle.
So, Chip, I want to know a little bit more about WalletHub and what you guys do.
Well, we are primarily a personal finance website, and we offer a wide array of services such as free credit reports, free credit scores, budgeting apps, personal finance advice. But we do conduct a number of surveys that have to do with personal finance to give folks an idea of where their money is going and how much things cost, studies like this one. And my job is to sit here and chat with you gentlemen and kind of break things down into plain English.
Well, and when it comes to dealing with us, I'm glad that you may have to start taking some sign language courses because we're kind of like hard-headed and tough to get through to some.
So repeat stuff a lot.
Does it cost money to get the information from WalletHub?
No, totally free. Free credit reports, and the credit scores are updated daily. Your TransUnion credit reports available, and there's just a wealth of products that we have out there. We have a car loan payoff calculator. You can type in your numbers if you're looking to buy a new car, figure out how long it's going to pay, how much you'll be paying in interest. This is a wide array of products that we have out there.
How does WalletHub make its money?
That's a good question. We do a lot of credit card reviews and reports, and of course, we are compensated every time someone applies for a credit card or a banking product linking from our website. And I'm not familiar with the total ins and outs of it. That's pretty much the gist of it. There's a commission involved.
Like affiliate listings.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Partners.
So the article is 2025's best and worst states to drive in. So if you are a shoe salesman and you drive state to state, we can go around those states that cost you more money to drive in.
Well, guys, it's relative in a way if you think about it, because and you guys are in Southeast Texas, but wherever you live is the worst place to drive. If you're driving to school or if you're driving to work, your city or your state is the worst place for driving.
It's funny how that works out that way. Yeah, most definitely. Well, Chip, it's great to talk to you. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today. Stay in touch when you got some new product that you want to talk about. Give us a ring and we'll get you on.
I look forward to it, gentlemen. Y'all have a great afternoon.
You do the same.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
bet.
Chip Lupo with WalletHub.
I'm going to have to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that.
There's a couple things I heard him talking about.
Yeah, WalletHub.com.
I knew a guy that found out from his insurance company that accidents happen within 25 miles of your home. So he moved.
Good. Thank you, Jeff, for that.
Yes.
Insightful.
Insightful, and it really makes me think on a Saturday morning. Coming up, Jeff has the cruise-in calendar and the events calendar as well. I'll have the stories making automotive news headlines. Thanks for joining us on the award-winning In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. We'll be right back.
The Tex-Mex dining experience is defined by Lupi Tortilla, your destination for Texas's best beef fajitas and frozen margaritas. Since 1983, Lupi Tortilla has served authentic and time-tested recipes made with the freshest ingredients. Atmosphere is part of the award-winning experience at Lupi Tortilla, all developed in a little house near Highway 6 and I-10 in West Houston. Visit any of the Lupi Tortillas and you'll see the same attention to detail in each and every location. Start your Lupi experience with queso flammeado and guacamole, along with a classic frozen margarita. Dine on famous Lupi beef and chicken fajitas, or pepper shrimp brochette, or a fish or vegetarian entree, and finish with a scrumptious flan for dessert. Find Lupi Tortilla in Houston, College Station, Beaumont, Austin, San Antonio, and Dallas-Fort Worth. There's a Texas location near you. The recipes are authentic and time-tested. The ingredients always fresh. Lupi Tortilla, he's pretty good. You own a car you love. Well, why not let Gulf Coast Auto Shield protect it? Houstonian John Gray invites you to his state-of-the-art facility to introduce you to his specialist team of auto enthusiasts. We promise you'll be impressed. Whether you're looking to massage your original paint to a like-new appearance, apply a ceramic coating, install a paint protection film, nano-ceramic window tint, or new windshield protection called ExoShield, Gulf Coast Auto Shield is where Houston's car people go. Curbed your wheels? Instead of buying new, why not have them repaired? How about a professionally installed radar detector? Gulf Coast Auto Shield does that too. Get a peek inside the shop and look at the services offered by getting online and heading to gcautoshield.com. Better yet, stop by their facility at 11275 South Sam Houston Tollway, just south of the Southwest Freeway, and get a personal tour. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your place to go for all things exterior. Call them today, 832-930-5655 or gcautoshield.com.
Hey, when you download our app, you'll have access to the In Wheel Time Car Talk program 24/7. Just look for the App Store and check us out on the Odyssey radio app where you can stream us in your car. Podcasts available from your favorite podcast provider, including SiriusXM. The weekly video stream of our live shows on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com. Catch it 10 to noon Central Time every Saturday morning. Time now for the cruise-in and events calendars.
You betcha.
And guess who has that?
I got it.
It's troublemaker Jeff Zekin.
So these are for February 1st, which is next weekend. Gears and Grounds. Join fellow car enthusiasts on February 1st for Gears and Grounds
Oh, I
event.
like that. I like the name.
It's at the Shop Club in Houston. The gathering promises a display of wide variety of vehicles, including classic cars, sports cars, exotics, race cars, imports, trucks. They're either lifted or lowered, one or the other. Gears and Grounds occurs every first Saturday of the month from 8 to 10, but of course they probably go over to 11, 12, whatever the case, because people hang out. This is at 13150 Brenton Ridge Street in Houston. Again, February 1st, 8 to 10. Then you got the Kingwood Classic Cruisers, Cars and Coffee. Join Kingwood Classic Cruisers every Saturday morning at the Whataburger. Who doesn't like Whataburger, Michael? From 7:30 to 10:30. Again, it probably rolls over a little later. So it's at 4545 Kingwood Drive in Kingwood, Texas, 8:30 to 10. Conroe Cruisers, again, February 1st. Conroe, Montgomery County, all these folks really know how to put on a show. Saturday night cruise. So this is an evening one. It starts at the Kroger Marketplace parking lot at 341 South Loop, 336 West. Then on Groundhog Day, the 2nd, which is Groundhog Day, right? February 2nd. Woodlands Cars and Coffee for a cruise for a cause. This is a good event. It's from 6:30-ish to 10:30-ish in the morning, continue efforts, fun, creative ways to bring back things to the community. They take donations and things for the different charities they have. The purpose is providing a charity of car displays, show off special vehicles supporting of that particular area in Montgomery County. It's at the Market Street in the Woodlands at Uni Sushi at 9595
Uni
6
Sushi.
Pines Drive. Uni Sushi. There you go.
Uni
So you only
Sushi.
get one, Don. Oh, that's Uno. Sorry, it's a game. Spring, Texas, February 2nd. Now, because it's Groundhog's Day, I'm going to read it again. So there you go.
Thank you. You ever heard of a guy by the name of Hal Spurlick?
We're about to find out.
Yeah.
No.
So Hal Spurlick has died. The template that Hal Spurlick, an engineer turned product development ace, used to create the Ford Mustang in the 1960s and the Chrysler minivan in the 1980s still works today. Spurlick's first recipe was simple: create eye-catching, segment-busting vehicles by modifying existing platforms with unique bodies and keep costs under control by using as many off-the-shelf components as possible. Spurlick died January 20th at the age of 95 years old. Let's see. He was the last surviving member of the core team of executives at Ford that created the Mustang. Ford Motor Company CEO Jim Farley, in a statement, called Spurlick a product visionary who never played it safe and was always focused on the white space and improving the company's capability. In his 2013 interview with Motor Trend, Spurlick had more parting advice for the industry's newest leaders. Nobody is innovating, creating new segments, he told the magazine. Look at my history. Mustang, never done before. Fuel-efficient front-drive cars for America, never done. Minivans, never done. It was going outside of the rear-view mirror segments. A lot of new niches are possible. So I normally don't do that, but that struck me as a guy that he was kind of, you always hear of Lee Iacocca,
Right.
the Ford Mustang, but here's the guy that actually made it happen.
The guy behind the guy,
scenes.
yeah.
And he ultimately got fired from Ford because he poo-pooed the Edsel. And we all know what happened with the Edsel.
It was poo-poo.
Yeah. President Donald Trump said he planned to impose previously threatened tariffs of as much as 25% on Mexico and Canada by February 1st, reiterating his contention that America's two immediate neighbors are letting undocumented immigrants and drugs flood into our country. We are thinking in terms of 25% on Mexico and Canada because they are allowing vast numbers of people into the U.S. Trump said in a response to questions from reporters in the Oval Office on Monday night, I think we'll do it February 1st. Trump also ordered his administration to consider eliminating subsidies and other policies that favor electric vehicles, laying the groundwork for moves that risk slowing adoption of EVs in the U.S., European, Asian auto companies likely to be affected by Trump tariffs. So we got that working as well.
Lots of stuff.
Yeah. Stellantis said it will move ahead with plans to build a mid-size pickup truck at its long-idled assembly plant in Belvidere, Illinois. In a memo obtained January 22nd by Cream's Chicago Business, an affiliate of Automotive News, the automaker said it will build the new truck and return approximately 1,500 UAW represented employees to work there. Company did not provide a timeline, though the UAW announced Belvidere will build a new mid-size truck starting in 2027. Finally,
Yay.
Thank you. And I've said the story before, and I'll repeat it again. Every time I go to Wisconsin to visit relatives up there, I fly into Chicago and then drive up to Janesville, Wisconsin, typically, or Milwaukee, somewhere in there. And I go right past that Belvidere plant on the road up to Wisconsin, big highway. That plant is massive, and it's sat there now for years, vacant. You drive by it, and all I can think of is the number of employees that it provided a living for all those years, and what has happened to those 1,500 or 3,000 people that work there.
To your point, there was a thing on the news just past Tuesday or Wednesday about that plant, and that most of it is in disarray, falling down. So it's going to take a lot of work to get it going before they can even start again.
Right.
So they're going to have to basically rebuild the plant.
Pretty much, yes. I knew that. And, originally, when that moron that was the CEO said, "Oh yeah, we're going to do it," so they could keep the UAW off their back.
Yeah.
And they didn't do it.
And have you heard anything from them lately?
No.
The UAW?
No. Not a word. That's a sore subject, I think.
Yep.
And especially among the UAW rank and
I think
file.
they're trying to get rid of their leader. I think. I don't know.
I keep hearing rumblings about
scuttlebutt.
that. Donald Trump's first moves on electric vehicles, including the revocation of an executive order that called for 50% of all new passenger cars and light trucks to be zero emission by 2030, signal the direction of his administration, but on their own won't immediately change policy. In addition to revoking the order, he called for a pause in the release of funds under two federal acts of legislation, the Inflation Reduction Act and the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. So the $7,500 that you were getting back from your taxes and all that stuff.
Yeah, not going to happen.
No, not going to happen. And I've always been a proponent of the fact that, hey, you're going to build a vehicle. Let's make it right, spot on with all of the others. Compete head to head. Doesn't make any difference what it is that you're trying to motivate that vehicle with, whether it be electricity or gasoline or hydrogen or whatever. It needs to compete with all the other vehicles, head to head. If you can't build it, they can compete with, let's say, the Kia K5, then rethink it. Make it competitive with it. It's just me.
I think if you think back, we're old enough to think back that there was a time whenever that seemed like what they were doing.
I'm living in the past.
But once you get outside forces like the government involved in trying to tell them what they can and can't do, then you start restricting what they're able to do. And so I think in a free capitalistic market, you built stuff that people would buy. If they didn't want to buy it, you figured it out and you quit building it. And it's not that way right now, or it hasn't been for the last few years. It's been very, very focused on what somebody else wants. We want you to build this. We don't care what people want to buy. You're going to build this.
Well, in my world, I grew up with the big three, period. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yep.
Then along comes Volkswagen with the Bug. Then along comes Toyota with the Corolla.
Honda first, and then Toyota.
Honda, well, the Asian market.
Yeah.
And so they, little by little, they've been eating away at it because they were competing head to head with the U.S. market, which, let's face it, it wasn't all that to talk about back in the day.
But it's all we knew at the time.
That's correct.
Well, you say that because when they were introduced and the imports were coming, the JDM, so to speak, was during the oil crunch. So that was their opening. If it wasn't for that, they would have probably been a little bit behind with the big three. I think with the oil and the embargoes and the gas lines, that's when the imports started to explode because they built smaller cars, more efficient
cars.
cars.
Still the same thing. People made the choice. Do I want to drive my truck?
Right.
Or do I want to go buy a Toyota Corolla that I can buy gas for the rest of the week?
Well, you'd have to buy your truck if the oil embargo didn't happen. You would be driving your truck anyways.
Right.
So everybody switched to the...
But that's when you had a choice.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you'd love to hear from you. Just shoot us an email. The address here is info@inwheeltime.com. We'll be right back.
Pro-Am Auto Accessories has been serving Houston's auto enthusiasts since 1984, providing world-class products for sports cars, European sedans, and American muscle. Pro-Am is known as the place to go to find exclusive and hard-to-find parts and accessories. Pro-Am is one of the very first distributors in the USA for brands such as Recaro, Redline, Momo, Corbo, and Simpson. Located in the heart of Houston's premier retail and service corridor, the Galleria area, Pro-Am's walk-in storefront includes an 8,000-square-foot warehouse, showroom, and installation bays. Pro-Am not only sells parts and accessories, but also offers installation and service. Pro-Am is now reaching a worldwide audience through Pro-Am.com, taking its local reputation to the rest of the world. At Pro-Am Auto, you'll be dealing with a small group of professionals who truly want to help you with your automotive needs. If you don't see what you're looking for on the website, call and Pro-Am will lend you a hand. Pro-Am Auto, 6125 Richmond at Green Ridge in Houston's Galleria area. Call them at 713-781-7755.
From the open roads to the open waters, your adventure starts at the Houston Automotive Show at NRG Center. One ticket, two shows. Check out top cars, trucks, sport boats, fishing boats, and more. New designs, new technology, and everything in between. Spectacular experiences, amazing fun. There's something for everyone. Get your friends, get your family, and get your tickets now. The Houston Automotive Show, making waves and fueling adventures.
That's it for this podcast episode of the In Wheel Time Car Show. I'm Don Armstrong, inviting you to join us for our live show every Saturday morning on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and our InWheelTime.com website. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart Podcast, Podcast Addict, TuneIn, Pandora, and Amazon Music. Keep listening, and we'll see you soon.